tutorials. On this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a background for a composite. So a lot of times when I am creating a composite, I am able to find a stock photo. I usually use Dreamstime as my source for stock images for backgrounds, and sometimes for just different items I place in an image. But other times there are certain pictures or ideas I have in my head for composites where I'm unable to find what I'm looking for, so I have to create that image myself. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing that with this example here. So I've taken some pictures and I haven't edited them yet, so I won't pull them up yet, but I have a picture of three girls, so two of my daughters and their best friend, and they are dressed up as a Care Bear, Rainbow Bright, and Strawberry Shortcake. So a little girl's 80s dream come true. And what I want to do is make them look like they are in the clouds here. There's going to be rainbows and a little castle in the background. So in order to complete this, I have a lot of different things that I need to add here. Once I get my background image created, then you'll see the again, the speed edit after that shows how, obviously a quick version of me editing the entire image from start to finish. All right, so all of our images we crop to a ratio of 15:11. It's something that I've always done since I used to do sessions and weddings and things like that, and the reason I've stuck with that is because I feel like I know it is the most compatible with printing. So when you print to a size that is, let's say 8 by 10, 16 by 20, 11 by 14, 5 by 7, all of those, when you print it, it doesn't cut off a lot of your image. 15 by 11 is just the most compatible ratio. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to crop it to 15 by 11, but I want to extend it a little bit. And I'm going to do this using the Content Aware tool. So when I crop, I want to make sure that that is selected, and what that's going to do is when I hit enter to crop, it's going to fill in all this white space with what I hope is a continuation of this image. And sometimes it doesn't do it super great, and other times, like usually with a pretty straightforward image like this, like one that's not too complicated, you can see it filled it in really well. So this is what I have to start with. When I put my girls in here, they are going to be about this big, kind of here in the center. I want to put a little castle off to the side here, and kind of some rainbows coming in, and then we'll have like a sun flare that will be there as well. So to get started, I'm going to, sorry, I just had an alarm go off on my phone, so let me make sure I get that turned off. The overlays that I'm going to use here, you can see them here floating around. We were did a little girls trip, and this was just in the hotel where we did the pictures. But there's a couple things. I think I'm going to start actually with the castle, because it's kind of going to be the furthest off in the distance. So I'm going to place that, and obviously I'm not going to use the flowers and all that, so I'm just going to kind of put it where I want it to go, kind of back here. And then what I'm going to do from here is create a layer mask and brush off what I don't want. The other thing that I could do is select it and pull it over, which might actually be my better option. And and sometimes with these things I start to do something and then I realize, oh, I shouldn't do that. This will work much better. So instead of trying to erase out around all of that, I'm actually going to select it. So using the selection tool here, I'm going to get as much of it as I can. And it's going to be in the background and kind of blurred. So if I don't get something selected or I miss something, it's not going to be a huge deal. The focus is going to be on the characters, on the girls, so you don't have to spend a ton of time selecting this. Now, if it's your subject, so the characters themselves, obviously that is more important, and you want to make sure that you get everything selected with those. Let's see. All this stuff in the middle is not. Get my brush a little bigger. There we go. And let me zoom in a bit. And this is, again, another stock photo that I've downloaded from Dreamstime. And I always include a link to their website. So if you are interested in looking to see what they have to offer, I highly recommend them. They have tons of images. Okay, so whoops, just getting the last little bit of this. And I'm going to pull those, well, I don't want that much. I don't think that's necessary. Okay, let's see. Trying to double check everything here. I'm sure I'm missing something. This one's a little more complicated here. But again, as long as you get the majority, keep this top part off because I'm not going to sit there and select in between all those little parts. And the opacity is going to be a little bit lower, and it's going to be kind of blurred. So it's not a huge deal, like I said, if you kind of skip a little part of it. Okay, so now that I have it selected, I am going to pull it over to my image here, and I'm going to delete out the other one. And I'm going to make it smaller, and I need to make it brighter, and then I'm going to kind of blend it into the clouds. I want it to look like it's kind of off in the distance here. Actually, let me set it here for a second. So something else I'm going to do is I'm going to make these clouds kind of come up. So to do that, I'm going to use my clone stamp. I could also use like the liquify tool if I wanted, but I think I want my opacity to be higher. So like that. And I'm just gonna kind of correct that. And I'm fine with it kind of fading off here. And I wanted it to look like, you're kind of going up to the castle up here. Now that I have the castle on there, I'm going to create a layer mask, and I'm going to brush off anything that, this is a symmetrical castle, so if it looks like there's something on one side that I missed on another, I'll just delete that right off, erase it. Okay. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to lower the opacity. Actually, first I'm going to, on that layer, I'm going to brighten it. That. And I want to lower the opacity a bit on the layer. I don't want it to be super vibrant. And then while the layer mask is selected, and with a lower opacity black brush, I'm going to kind of just go around and kind of brush the bottom a bit so that it blends, you know, some of the clouds come through. And it makes it look like it's kind of nestled into the clouds. Like that. The other thing I'm going to do with that particular part that I've moved over is I'm going to blur the layer a bit. So I'm going to make a duplicate copy so I can show you the before and after. I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, the Gaussian Blur. I don't want it to be that blurry, but a bit out of focus, I think. Right there is good. So that's before and that's after. So it's just a little blur. I'm going to delete out the one behind it. Okay. So I always recommend saving your image periodically. So I'm going to do that now. I'm calling these my 80s rainbow friends here. And we'll just call it rainbow. And then I always do A, B, C, D. So as I'm saving periodically, I can kind of see the progression. And now that I have that saved, I'm going to start putting in some rainbows. So I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to pull up my Photoshop tools and my overlays. So I have the rainbows. I know I have a million folders. And there's a few of these that I want to use. I'm going to start by trying this one. Hit Enter, and you're going to set it to screen. And so basically what I'm trying to achieve is, if you've ever seen the Care Bears, you know, in the clouds, there are a lot of like, kind of reminds me of like chutes and ladders, like these curvy slides going all over the place that are these rainbows. So in order to, oops, let me get this. I have to rasterize the layer so that I can edit it now. So in order to kind of achieve that, there are some different ways to go about it. So I'm going to put this one kind of here, just floating over there. And then I'm going to have, you know, one coming in almost like it's a road. So let's find a good one. It's a little more flat like this. And it probably needs to be coming in like this, and I'm going to make it big. And this may take some adjusting before I get it exactly how I want. So let's start with that. And I'm going to go to, again, go to Screen. And I'm going to move my castle down. So right now, that one is, if I can get my move tool pulled up, is kind of coming in along here. And I like that. However, I kind of want it to be more of a direction where it's kind of straight, not straight on, but a little bit. They're going to be facing straight at the camera or at the screen. The other thing is that one's really light. So what I could do is duplicate the layer, or I could raise the opacity. So for now, I'm going to hide those. I'm going to try one more. And you can see, you know, you could spend a huge amount of time working on these, so I like this one that's more, that I made that was more, stands out more. Enter and set it to screen. All right, and let me try making a duplicate layer of that as well. So you can see, again, takes some back and forth. Another one I want to try is making a copy of the first one I did. I like how bright that one is. You know, what's going to happen is the clouds are white. So putting something that's bright like this against it does make it a little challenging to make it stand out. So I don't think I necessarily want to go brighter. I just want, I'm going to try to raise the contrast a bit, lower the, not the brightness, we'll keep the brightness at 0, and I'm going to raise the saturation. There we go. Now we're talking. So if you get too crazy, you'll see it really messes with the gradient. But I think raising it up some is good. And what I'm probably going to do too is on the background, and I again make a duplicate layer. Hit OK. I'm going to darken the clouds underneath it, and what that will do is that will make that rainbow kind of pop against it. So these two I'm taking out for now. And I'm working with this layer here. I want to make sure I've got it in the spot I want before I start messing with the clouds at all. And I think what I might do is use the warp, and actually we'll try skew. I think warp is probably best. And that will allow me to kind of pull it down where I want and make it appear more like a, you know, a line coming in. There we go. Let me get this side down a little bit. All right, so now what I'm going to do, so it's out of the clouds there. It's just more like a pathway here. I'm going to darken the clouds underneath it, and I'm using the background, the duplicate layer, and I'm going to use a gradient. And we'll stick with the black for now. So go to your gradient, and I'm going to do the radial gradient there at a low opacity. And you can see the colors starting to stand out here. Okay, and I'm going to make another rainbow coming in. And let's see here. I think that's good. So now that I've got this little pathway, and you know, and I realize that this doesn't look like a cartoon rainbow, but that's the point. It's supposed to be a case of taking a character, you know, a cartoon show, and making it kind of more realistic. Now that I duplicated that one, I've got this here that I need to erase off. So I'm going to create a layer mask, and I'm going to brush it off. Make sure I'm at a higher percent here. also want to go at a much lower opacity and kind of blend it into the other one. Okay, now with this one, I'm going to create a layer mask and back at 100%. I want to get it off of the sky. So even though I set it to screen, sometimes it's still, whoops, it still kind of affects the background, and I don't like that. Let's go a little bit lower. So it's just a back and forth of blending all this stuff here. Okay, that one's good. And then I've got this one, we're good. And this one. And then we have the castle. Okay, so I think I may move this a bit. They're going to be standing kind of, I think I'm going to have them a little more off center, so like here. So with this rainbow, I'm going to make it a little smaller. Kind of more like that. So that way, when I place them on here, that rainbow is kind of out of the way. And it's not a big deal if when I place them on, if I need to move that again. So they'll be standing here. We've got this, you know, I'm going to put some other things in here, some bigger, fluffier clouds, so I can show you how to do that real quick. If I go back into my characters here, and I have all these clouds that are showing up, and I don't want all of those on there. So I can crop this down and save them individually. Anything like that is fine, but I think what I'm going to do is just put a few here along the edge of the rainbow. I'm going to hit screen again. I was just checking what some of these other options, you never know, every once in a while one of them will surprise you, but yeah, screen is going to be our best option. And with that one, again, create a layer mask, brush it off at 100%. I don't want this one. I just want these two kind of bigger, white, fluffy ones. And I'm going to put a few over here. Make sure I got everything there. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to place that file again. And I do sell cloud brushes. I just don't. I liked this particular one when I was looking for these. So I may end up putting some more floating clouds. Actually, that is what I will do. Let's see. I'm going to put that right there. Create a layer mask. Brush it off. I want this one to kind of cover the castle a bit. I'm looking for a screen, and I can move it wherever I want. So let's move want to put that. I don't think I like it there as much as I thought. I'll probably put it right there, and then I might put, actually that's the problem, I need to make it smaller. I knew it didn't look right. And I'm actually gonna stretch it a bit like this. I have something in my mind and I just can't make it work here. Maybe a little smaller. There we go. You know, so I can continue doing that. I'll add a few more of the clouds in. And I might lower the opacity on that. I don't like it so bright back there. Another thing I will consider doing, which I'm not going to mess with it now until I get the characters in the picture, but I might put a cloud or two in the sky with a rainbow, you know, joining them or coming down, something along those lines. But as I begin to edit this as well, these rainbows will show up, you know, the color will pop more. I'll use a color pop brush so they stand out more as well. But again, the idea is the girls will be here. I will probably have a sun in the picture. I might add a few more little character type things as well. But for the most part, I would say that this background is ready to go for moving the subjects into the picture. So I'll do another one of these in the future, something, you know, really different, so you can get an idea of hopefully how to continue working on composites and creating backgrounds for them. So stay tuned for the speed edit, which will be next, and we'll show you how I complete the rest of this image. Thanks for watching, guys. This video. Make sure you stay connected with Urban Rhino on social media, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and of course subscribe to our channel.